Hello and many thanks for joining us on Nationwide Live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Ian Ray John. Welcome. 4 days to the presidential election, the All Progressives Congress presidential campaign team visited Yenagoa, the Bayelsa and River States. President Muhammadu Buhari says nation building is the responsibility of all citizens and promised to uphold sanity among those occupying public offices if re-elected. Salihu Abdullahi monitored the rally.
APC supporters from within and around Bayelsa State converged on Yenagoa to show solidarity and support for the APC and its presidential candidate, President Muhammadu Buhari. Leaders of the party in the state reaffirmed that APC remains the party that will salvage the people and provide the needed change.
We can conveniently tell you, Mr. President, that the APC is the stronger party in Bayelsa State.
What Bayelsans are struggling to do now is to see what quantum of contribution are we going to make in your re-election. And Your Excellency, the only request we want is for a level playing ground to be provided for Bayelsans to show you that they love you.
President Muhammadu Buhari assured the people that those who abuse public trust will be brought to book.
The previous government mentioned on their own that they spent 16 billion American dollars for power. But you are better witnesses than myself. Where is the power? Where is the money? We will follow them. Eventually, God willing, we will catch them and we will get our money back.
The APC presidential campaign continued in Rivers State. Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Election observers and voters have been assured of their safety as each polling unit will be manned by 3 unarmed security personnel. The assurance was given by the Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, during a meeting by INEC, security agencies and election observers in Abuja. Mia Ogidi reports.
91 political parties, 148 election observers, 1 umpire, and the stage is set. Saturday, 16th of February 2019 remains sacrosanct.
The observers, we are going to be protected.
Thank you for assuring us freedom and security to the observers. Best of luck.
Encouraging assurances followed by pledge of neutrality.
We are going to observe these elections very impartially and very diligently.
After that, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, unfolds his itinerary for the security. 24,000 mobile police officers, 4,000 counter-terrorism team, and 8,000 special protection unit.
At 5 a.m., all our personnel that are scheduled for election duties must be at their polling units. Any voter or party official or member dressed in party logo or shouting party slogan or moving with his political party vehicle with party inscription shall be arrested. All security personnel posted on this duty, election duty, should strictly enforce the non-movement restriction from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening on voting days.
The man of the moment, that is the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, literally handed over the commission's details to the observers.
There are some documents and instruments that we are going to make available to you. The manual for election guidelines and regulations, and then for us in the commission, the kit, complete compendium of information.
Interactions of this nature will be on frequent basis as everyone desperately peeps into February 16 to cast their ballot. Mie Ogedi, NT News.
Many thanks, Mia. The coming into effect of the age reduction legislation has witnessed the emergence of a new wave of competent and credible young men and women who are running for political offices in the 2019 general elections. They are coming with a fresh agenda geared towards providing innovative, transformative and responsive leadership in the public domain. Timothy Yusuf reports that this feat is courtesy of President Muhammadu Buhari's signing of the Not Too Young to Run bill into law.
The 2019 general elections remain one of the most contested since the transition to democracy in 1999, with 91 registered political parties. 73 of the political parties are fielding candidates for the presidential poll, 1,904 candidates for the Senate, 4,680 for the House of Representatives, 1,066 for the governorship, and 14,583 for the state assemblies. Political players say the elections, beyond the high number of candidates, highlight a more competitive political environment with the increase in the political debates and, more importantly, the number of young people registered as voters and contesting the elections.
There is hope that by 2023, of course, the face of politics will change, immensely. More youths will come in.
Nigeria has conducted 5 general elections since the return to civil rule: 1999, 2003, 2007, 2011, and 2015. The 5 elections were, however, noted for the low levels of youth participation as candidates. This is regardless of the determining role of young people as voters and election administrators. Many attributed this situation partly to the 1999 Constitution, which placed minimum age limits for those wishing to contest elective positions. This gathering under the banner of Youth Initiative for Advocacy, Growth and Advancement, Yaga Africa, is basically to applaud President Buhari's magnanimity for signing the Not Too Young to Run bill into law.
There are 41.8% youth candidates vying for seats in the State House of Assembly in all the 36 states, with the majority, that is 23.5%, from the Northwest.
Young people are excited, young people are happy, young people rejoice, and we are renewing our faith in democracy.
They enjoined youth candidates across the country to act in accordance with the rule of law. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
The Buhari Campaign Organization has reached out to eligible voters in Kano Metropolis with convincing reasons for the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari, anchoring them on improved security, fighting corruption and infrastructural development. The Campaign Council said it's targeted women as part of its strategy to increase electoral fortunes of the ruling All Progressives Congress in Kano State. Awal Salisu completes the reports.
The sensitization campaign by Northern team of the Buhari Campaign Organization brought together FEC women of quality quarters in Kano Metropolis to create awareness and educate them on the need to trust President Buhari with their votes during the presidential election this coming Saturday. The team also dwelt on voter education to address the issues of invalid votes. Other women that spoke canvassed support for the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari and all APC candidates in the state to protect their interests and collectively move the country to the next level.
We want our vote to be the highest in the northern parts of this country. We want to show that Kano we can make it and we can do it, and by the grace of God we can do it, because we need Baba Buhari. He's the only leader. He's our leader that will take Arewa, northern part of this country, to the next level.
The Buhari Campaign Organization is hopeful that participants will spread the gospel in their various localities. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
And moving to the southwest region now, people living with disability in that part of the country have pledged to vote for the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari this Saturday. The group made a promise at the Southwest Summit of Buhari Oshibajo Support Group held at Mapo Hall, Ibadan. Ayomiku Ajibola brings us details.
Gathered in Ibadan are coalitions of various support groups of persons with disability from the southwest zone of the country, affirming the re-election bid of President Muhammadu Buhari, while assuring the president of their full support from the grassroots for his re-election. Chairman, Board of Trustee of the association, Paul Adelabu, urged members to come out hemmers to vote for President Muhammadu Buhari so as to have more opportunities during his second term. Party stalwart who spoke at the event say the president has laid a strong foundation for the country which should be consolidated, adding that the region will greatly benefit more at the next level.
I can assure you that when we vote massively on Saturday, we can ask for more and we'll get more. It is my prayer that the benefits will continue and we'll get more in the second term of this administration.
The philosophy of our President Buhari tallies with the philosophy of our sage, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, which is accountability, transparency in governance.
High point of the event was the declaration of support for Buhari Oshibajo's second term bid. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
And staying with election matters, as Nigerians count down to the 2019 polls, guests on Good Morning Nigeria are optimistic of a positive outcome of the election. They say for the election to be free and fair, there must be harmony and convergence between the process of the election and the outcome. Alika Okwenachi Arua has the report.
Just 4 days to go. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria noted that to have a transparent and credible election, all indices must be in place, and all stakeholders must respect the rule of law and the electoral process.
To increase the participatory level of the election, it is good to ensure that the election is inclusive, create an environment for people to vote without any difficulty.
All along, when we've been having bad elections in Nigeria, it's because of the fact that we have allowed money to play a role that is not supposed to play. Money has been used to manipulate from the very beginning. But as we all know, this administration has made it clear that money will not play a role in this election.
They noted that violence is a function of a weak and corrupt institution. They therefore advise all Nigerians to shun violence and be vigilant during and after the election to ensure that their votes count for the candidates of their choice.
There's a very strong conviction amongst Nigerians that if INEC in 2019 operates below or even at the level that we saw in 2015, that has been failure.
On the part of INEC, fantastic. The INEC we have now, we've never had it before.
They also say to avoid bottlenecks before and during the election, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, need to have an alternative plan in place to tackle challenges that may arise. In Abuja, Alika Okwenachi Arua, NTA News.
And heading straight to the courts now, the Supreme Court has struck out the appeal of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State, seeking to validate its Congress in the state. Justice Amina Augi, who read the ruling, upheld the position of the Court of Appeal that the appeal was filed out of time. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okeowo reports.
The 5-member panel of the Supreme Court Justices, led by Justice Bode Rhodes-Vivo, sat on 4 appeals emanating from the Rivers APC Congress. While 3 of the appeals were consolidated, since they were about persons seeking to join, the main appeal was about whether the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt was right to have ruled that the case was a pre-election matter.
By the judgments delivered in 4 appeals today, have confirmed the inviolability of the judgment of the High Court of Rivers State, rendered on 10th day of October 2018.
Both factions are APC. A situation where something is foisting on your party, or a situation where you are likely not to have candidates and people jubilate, you should know whether or not those people are actually representing the party.
In all these cases,
the Supreme Court upheld the position of the Court of Appeal. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arraigned former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babache Lawal, along with his son and 4 others before Federal Capital Territory High Court on 10-count charge bordering on conspiracy and fraud. Aliu Turku reports.
The former Secretary to Government of the Federation is standing trial for allegedly using his position to secure contracts worth close to 300 million naira meant for clearing of evasive plants in IDP camps in the northeast without executing them. This allegation led to his removal in 2017 by the government. Babachir Lawal, along with 5 others, pleaded not guilty to all the charge, after which their counsel filed for bail application on grounds that some of the defendants have health conditions that require medical attention. The prosecution counsel, Mohammed Abubakar, objected to the bail application. After hearing both parties' arguments on the bail application, Justice Jude Okeke ordered that the defendants be remanded in EFCC's custody pending the ruling on the bail application.
10 counts in all, but the defendants are not involved. It's in all the 10. You have some involved in 4, some in 6.
The case has been adjourned to Wednesday the 13th of this month for ruling on the bail application. In Abuja, Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
In other news, an elder statesman and member of the Northern Elders Forum, Junaidu Mohammed, has debunked the purported endorsement of the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, by some individuals without the mandate of other members. He made this known in an interview with NTA News in Abuja. Ahmed reports.
The spate of endorsement by some political groups is on the increase nationwide, but Dr. Janedu cautioned that such adoption of candidate must be done with decorum and within the laws. He therefore described the alleged endorsement of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the PDP by some members of the forum as untrue, illegal, and it will not stand the test of time.
I do not believe that in the ambience, in the atmosphere we operate politically, it is either helpful or truthful to claim you are endorsing an individual on behalf of a whole ethnic group or geopolitical group. You are talking of the North. You are talking about something in excess of 100 million people. How anybody or how any group of people can meet either in Kaduna or in one small hotel in Abuja and say they are endorsing on behalf of the North an individual, in my view, was simply stretching the truth too far. I don't believe that is true, and I don't believe that can be true. And anyway,
for voters in the forthcoming general elections, especially the youth, Dr. Janedu's advice is for them to conduct themselves responsibly during and after the elections. Ahmed, NTA News.
And if you just joined us, you're watching Nationwide on Africa's largest television network. Now time to join Elizabeth in Lagos for more stories.
Hello, Iandre, and thanks for joining us in the city of Lagos. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has charged the creative industry to deploy their talents to project positive values of integrity and dignity, which President Muhammadu Buhari's administration represents. Fashola gave this charge at a meeting with executive committee members of the Theatre Arts and Motion Picture Producers Association of Nigeria in Lagos. Nosa Usula reports.
The Minister of Power, Works and Housing said it had become imperative for Nigerians to understand that the cardinal issue of contest in the February 16th and March 2nd general elections was that of the change ideology.
I think it is still important that you continue to help propagate the message of change, but there is room to do a lot more. There are issues about our national values that we must place at the forefront of our national aspiration. Who are we?
Earlier, the president of Tampan, Bolaji Amusan, popularly known as Mr. Latin, lauded the performance of the Buhari administration. Amuson pledged the association's commitment to lend its support to the president's campaign and demanded consideration of their members at all levels of governance.
We believe His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, has done a lot for the country. And we believe we have to be associated with the next level.
Believe in the President's integrity, honesty. We believe in his determination to help everybody in this country.
The highlight of the event was presentation of a check of 500,000 naira by the Tampan executive to Mr. Fashola as a contribution to the campaign for the re-election of President Buhari. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Few days to the 2019 presidential election, activities are in top gear to ensure peaceful election. One of such is a conversation cafe organized by the American Center for Young Women to encourage active participation in Saturday's election, as well as in politics generally. Hingino John Adams reports that peaceful election was emphasized.
Since the return of democracy to Nigeria in 1999, statistics reveal that the number of women occupying elective positions is low. For instance, in the Senate, out of the 109 seats, there were only 3 women in 1999, 4 in 2003, 5 in 2007, and 7 in 2011 and 2015. The situation is not different in the House of Representatives, as 1999 had 13 women, 2003 had 21, 2007 had 27, 2011 had 25, and 2015 had 22 out of the 360 seats. To change this trend, American Center organized this conversation cafe with Dr. Joe Oke Odumakin as the lead speaker.
Women realize that we can use our numerical strength to assert ourselves. The only language is that let's take our PVC, ensure that we vote peacefully and protect our votes.
I also want to see females who have the drive and the determination to enter politics here and make a difference.
It was an engaging session as participants had the opportunity to contribute.
I've always known that women empowerment and feminism in general, and all of these things have been immensely important.
And I should be proud of the fact that I'm a woman and I should be able to stand up for what I believe in.
The program is expected to remold the psychology of these young women concerning politics. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
Academic activities are expected to begin fully in university campuses in Lagos after the presidential election. Jane Ujuku has a situation report.
4 days after ASU suspended the strike embarked upon on the 4th of November 2018, the 2 public universities in Lagos are yet to commence full academic activities. Their stakeholders say may not be unconnected with the impending presidential election, which is just a few days away.
They released the operational license for NOPEMCO and also paid salary shortfalls to our universities.
My child told me that they are resuming at Unilag by Monday. I was very happy because they have been staying at home doing nothing.
They're supposed to made it after election. That way students will be very well prepared.
Respondents say the industrial action had taken its toll on academic and businesses domiciled on campuses.
The students are staying at home without doing anything.
When they call off the strike, we are so happy because since last year we have not been selling. There's no sales at all, and even to pay the shop rent, we don't have money to pay the shop rent.
The Senate of the University of Lagos, Unilag, will be meeting on Wednesday, the 13th, to fix resumption date. In Lagos, Jane Ujuku, NTA News.
And that's a contribution from Lagos. More reports are nationwide after this time out. Stay with us.
The UN compound houses about 400 employees.
The Nigerian capital Abuja is still reeling from Monday morning's rush hour bomb.
If the group did carry out the attack, it would be one of its worst.
2 suicide bombings in Nigeria. One targeted a convoy carrying Nigeria's main opposition leader.
Gun attack on the central mosque in North Nigeria's biggest city, Kano.
The level of preparedness by the Independent National Electoral Commission is the focus this week on NTA Tuesday Live as Nigerians go to the polls from Saturday, February 16, 2019. NTA Tuesday Live at 10:30 p.m. every Tuesday promises to be incisive and informative. Don't miss it.
His Excellency the Governor of Kaduna State, Right Honorable Aminu Bello Masari, CFR, on behalf of himself, government and members of All Progressives Congress, APC, invites the good people of Kaduna State to come out en masse and welcome President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, for the APC 2019 presidential campaign, which will be held on Thursday, 14th February 2019 at Muhammadu Dikko Stadium, Katsina by 10 a.m. The entire people of Kaduna State assure you our unflinching support and success to your second-term bid for continuity with the remarkable achievements in economic reconstruction, infrastructural development, fighting corruption and insecurity for a viable Nigeria. With Baba Buhari, next level is certain. Chairman, Kaduna State APC 2019 Campaign Council and Secretary to the Government, Mustafa Mohamed Inua, announcer.
Our pastors, our imams, in every church, in every mosque, please realize that in the course of praying for peaceful and transparent elections, we all have duties beyond prayers if we want a stable society before, during, and after the elections. What are you saying to those who worship in your church and at your mosque? Yes, every Sunday and every Friday, all of us, Muslims and Christians alike, troop out to our various places of worship to hear God speak through our pastors and imams. As a pastor, as imams, you owe it a duty to God and to this nation towards ensuring peace before, during, and after the general elections. Speak to those who worship under you. Encourage them to exercise their civic responsibility peacefully. Let's join hands to ensure peaceful general elections. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Over 1 trillion naira housing investment in just 3 years. Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing is sinking over 100 billion naira. Family Home Fund is investing over 500 billion naira. Federal Mortgage Bank Limited has invested billions of naira on housing finance. Federal Housing Authority is also spending billions of naira to house Nigerians. With a population of over 180 million Nigerians, housing development never got the desired attention until this time of President Muhammadu Buhari. While shanties and dilapidated buildings characterized Nigerian landscape in the past, the Buhari's government now is sinking billions of naira for inclusive housing for all Nigerians. For 16 years, the Federal Housing Authority had no single finance from the federal government, but within 3 years of President Buhari, the Federal Housing Authority is back on site, building houses for Nigerians. Supporting Mr. President is a support for more houses to Nigerians. Let's ensure continuity. Let's vote for the man who is doing it.
Nigerian youth have seen the positive effects of the Anko Borrowers program of the Buhari administration, which has improved the country's food security. The homegrown school feeding program is catering for over 9 million pupils, engaging and empowering cooks and farmers. What about the 10 billion naira youth entrepreneurship support project to empower youth with startup loans for businesses? We connect to the next level as more than 1 million market women, traders, artisans and farmers from all over Nigeria are getting empowered through interest-free trader money scheme. scheme, Nigeria is proudly in the list of top 10 reforming economies in the world, moving 24 places upwards in the World Bank's ease of doing business. We are making progress. The death from terrorism in Nigeria has dropped by 80%. According to the Global Terrorism Index, Nigeria is making progress in the fight against corruption. The whistleblowing policy has helped recover looted funds. The enforcement of TAC brought about fiscal discipline, transparency and accountability in government revenue. Power generation and distribution in Nigeria has improved tremendously. The off-grid power project has not gone unnoticed. Nigerian youth, let's connect to the next level. This message is powered by Dr. Tony Nwoye, Director Youth Mobilization Presidential Campaign Council.
Glad to have you back. Fire has gutted a container at the Secretariat of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Awka, Anambra State. Resident Electoral Commissioner in Anambra State, Onwachukwu Orji, said that only the card readers were affected, while other sensitive materials that are yet to arrive at the Commission were not affected as at the time of this report. Staff members of the Commission fled their offices while firefighters were still battling to put out the fire. Security operatives, including Army and police, thronged the Secretariat to assist. Moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari has asked African countries to adopt preventive and punitive measures against those who are bent on ensuring that the people of the continent remain poor while the economy stagnates through corruption. The president made the recommendation while presenting his report at the African Union Anti-Corruption Champion for 2018 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Foreign Desk Correspondent Makut Simon Macham reports.
When the African Union in 2018 appointed Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari to champion the theme of the year, which focused on the fight against corruption, many could not fault the decision based on his antecedents at home and efforts to deal with the issue. 1 year later, the president is back to give an account of his stewardship. The report is presented by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyama, who led Nigeria's delegation to the 32nd Ordinary Session of the African Union.
Among the key achievements of the African Anti-Corruption Year are the increased visibility of the African Union on the anti-corruption agenda and illicit financial flows. This has enabled the continent to identify priority action areas and speak with one unified voice on matters of concern. Crucial to the enhanced visibility of our joint efforts to combat the vice was the designation and commemoration of 11th July as the African Anti-Corruption Day.
President Buhari also advocates proactive strategy in fighting corruption through institutions that are strong and independent.
Prevention is better than cure. The lessons from the anti-corruption year have shown that there is need to strengthen and further strengthen national anti-corruption agencies and related institutions to ensure their functional autonomy.
On the notion that corruption is synonymous with Africa, the president insisted that such notion is erroneous and misleading and asked African leaders to unite in tracing and recovering looted funds stashed abroad. In giving his scorecard as Africa's anti-corruption champion, President Muhammadu Buhari clearly makes the statement that indeed the fight against corruption has begun and all hands must be on deck to ensure that this fight is fought till the end. From the AU Secretariat in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Makut Simon Macham, NTA News.
Many thanks, Makut. And back home, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has cautioned its personnel not to involve in any act that will tarnish the image of the Corps during and after the 2019 general elections. This was reiterated at a capacity building program on pre, during and post-election violence mitigation in Abuja. Oyeyemi Ajayi brings us details.
Major electoral stakeholders are putting finishing touches to their level of preparedness to ensure successful elections. And the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is not left out.
Acknowledge the fact that election violence anywhere in the world can impede genuine aspirations for development. As security agencies, it behoves on us to ensure that our personnel and other stakeholders in the process of the conduct of elections are able to conduct themselves professionally.
It was revealed that 80% of the 3.5 billion naira received by the Corps for effective operation is to be spent on personnel allowances and logistics, not forgetting that 56,000 regular personnel deployed will be assisted by 30,000 volunteers with about 500 security dogs.
So I want to advise them to distance themselves from anything that could be defined as malpractice, that will be defined as rigging. Even if your brother or your sister is contesting, you should see yourself as a neutral entity.
We are not going to take any excuse from any officer that is caught trying to sabotage the effort of government. And we are doing a lot in the direction. I want to assure you, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is fully prepared for the elections.
The personnel were advised to display a high level of professionalism through the electioneering process. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
The Nigerian Air Force has commenced the airlift of electoral materials for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, across the country for the conduct of the 2019 general elections. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Bukule Daramola, indicates that the airlift exercise includes day and night missions during which both sensitive and non-sensitive electoral materials were conveyed in batches with NAF C-130 Hercules aircraft from the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, to various airports across the country. The materials were duly delivered by the C-130H aircraft crew to INEC teams, Central Bank of Nigeria officials, together with security personnel waiting at the various airports. It may be recalled that the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, during his meeting with air officers commanding and NAF field commanders, had expressed the readiness of the force to avail INEC its transport aircraft to enable expeditious movement of electoral materials as done in the past. It is pertinent to state that the transport aircraft are deployed solely to provide airlift support to meet INEC's logistics requirements in fulfillment of the Nigerian Air Force constitutional role of providing military aid to civil authority. It's now time to join Pam in Makurdi for more on preparations for the forthcoming elections. It's over to you, Pam.
Thanks, Henry, and welcome to Makurdi. With Monday being the last day for the collection of permanent voter cards, some eligible voters express fear that they may be disenfranchised as a crowd still throng the development center for their cards. Blessing Omeche Ebute monitored the process and files in this report.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on Friday extended the collection of permanent voter cards by 3 days. The decision, according to the Commission, was as a result of complaints by eligible voters' inability to meet the initial deadline. Many people then took action as they say it will enable them to collect their cards. With the expiration of the 3-day grace period granted by INEC, some eligible voters decried the slow process of the collection.
If you give them your paper for them to give you the PVC, you will be standing at the window for close to an hour because they issue your PVC.
Benue State Resident Electoral Commissioner Dr. Nantawe Yewada says from the over 800,000 uncollected PVCs, only 344,000 were left as at Friday last week.
The sheer number of this 9-minute response by Nigerians, they will wait until the last hour. Everybody wants to collect it within that period. And we extended, the queue disappeared and then reappeared when it's just 24 hours.
He added that it is not possible to record a 100% collection exercise as some registered voters may have died and others relocated. He says all other uncollected PVCs will be returned to the central bank for safekeeping after the general elections. In Makurdi, Blessing Omeche Ebute, NTA News.
As Nigeria prepares to go to the polls in the forthcoming general elections, stakeholders have continued to campaign against hate speech, which is a platform for national disintegration. The latest is the Youth Conference on Safer Internet Week on Hate Speeches and Conflict Resolution held in Makurdi. Unis News reports that the event was organized by the National Film and Video Census Board.
The internet communication system since its inception in the country ushered in an effective means of communication network like the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, among others. The purpose of this media has been abused by its users with what scholars today describe as internet garbage in the name of hate speech, capable of inciting crisis and national disintegration. Executive Director, National Film and Video Censors Board, Alhaji Adebayo Thomas says the campaign has become necessary given the political atmosphere where youth have taken the privilege of the internet to post negative messages.
It's our duty to educate and enlighten the young ones on those usage, the implications of it, and the disadvantage and advantage of it, and how best it can even be used to promote peace and stability in the country.
In one of the papers presented on film, the need for conflict resolution and economic development, called on youth to avoid sentiments and post messages that are capable of moral value and objective.
Whatever our films produce, it should emphasize what? Moral values that we cherish.
The theme of the conference is Together for Better Internet, for Peace and Economic Development. In Makudi, Eunice Milsa, NTA News.
And that will be it from Makudi. It's now back to Abuja for the rest of Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Many thanks, Palm. We shall take a short break now. Nationwide continues shortly.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently guarding, waiting, listening and watching. They are there ready in the sky above. They are there in the blistering heat of the day and in the dead of night, willing, regardless and unrelenting in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They are who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
Naija people, make we make the right choice, yo. Make we vote for a man of integrity. Hey, and so make we gather together and make this change. Work, my people of Nigeria. Together we go carry Naija to the next level. Naija don't decide. Vote Baba Buhari. Baba Buhari, the man of integrity. Hey, vote Baba Buhari. Man, we no corrupt, we no go chop our money. Hey. Agriculture, the next level, fight corruption, the next level, good roads, to the next level, electricity, to the next level, railway, the next level, empower, the next level, we got money. For good health we go, Baba Buhari, my people, for the next level, APC, next level. Naija people, make we all come out to vote Baba Buhari.
This message is from Buhari Next Level Group.
Nigerian women, una dey market women, una dey time we don't reach where we go pay back. Person we make life better, electricity. President Buhari. Airport. President Buhari. Railway President Buhari. Peace and security. President Buhari. They feed our children. President Buhari. For school. President Buhari. Better road President Buhari. 4+4. President Buhari. Job creation. President Buhari. Empower. President Buhari. Trade and money. President Buhari. Nigerian women. Time we don't reach where we go pay back.
This message is brought to you by Ajia Salamatu Bewa, National Woman Leader, APC.
Customer, you are welcome. What do you want to buy from us this time? I have new stock.
Let me look around.
All right. Hello?
This is Patrick, your generator technician.
Patrick.
Madam, you haven't called me to service your generator in a while, oh. Hope no problem.
Oh, I'm sorry, Patrick. I don't use my generator anymore because we now have steady power supply in Surah Market. All thanks to the federal government.
Okay, madam. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
So you now have steady power supply here too?
Yes.
Just like we have in Sabungere Market in Kano and Ariara Market in Aba.
All federal government's efforts that they have put into the power sector have paid off in bringing improved electricity all over the nation. Do you know what I love most about it?
What?
This has really improved my business.
Oh, really? Yes. And you are smiling to the banks.
Of course.
Improved power supply nationwide. Another commitment of the federal government to Nigerians. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Thank you for staying. Now time to take a trip to Enugu, where Chinyere is standing by for more news.
Thank you, Ian, and welcome to Enugu Network Center. Ahead of Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections, the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Department Force Headquarters, Abuja, DIG Anthony Obuzi, who is on election duty in the Southeast, is currently meeting with heads of security agencies and other key players in Enugu to fashion out ways of ensuring violence-free elections on the state. Jude Abugu reports.
All right. Thank you, studio. The meeting is basically for the nation's electoral process in Enugu State to brainstorm on ways to actualize a free, fair, successful election in this Saturday's election and March 2nd gubernatorial and House of Assembly elections. The DIG made it clear in his message that the stability of the country is more important than ambition of any politician or any political group.
We are ensuring that the lives of everybody, irrespective of their living, the property of everybody is safe and guaranteed. So we are sure of the have that confidence that we will not leave any stone unturned.
We have participants drawn from civil society organizations, members of the Police Community Relation Committee, leaders of political parties, traditional rulers, the Independent National Electoral Commission, and all the heads of security agencies in the state. Some of these participants are also hopeful that the election will come out successful and peaceful at the end.
You can see already that here in Enugu State we have no problem.
The key message from this meeting for the public is that people should conduct themselves in orderly manner at the post, as the DIG has made it clear that security agents will not relent in their efforts to ensure that peace is maintained before, during, and after the elections. Back to you in the studios.
Thank you, Jude. Meanwhile, 3 days to the kickoff of the general elections in the country, security operatives in Enugu State have assured residents of adequate security of lives and properties during and after the elections. Amish Bias reports that the police and relevant key players say arrangements are to ensure a peaceful exercise in Enugu.
Like in other parts of the country, most communities in Enugu have been characterized by political campaigns by the various political parties. These political rallies usually attract a large number of people and are often rowdy. During and after the elections, security to lives and property is very important, and those charged with that responsibility in Enugu are leaving nothing to chance in ensuring the peaceful conduct of the entire exercise.
We have earmarked security and security for all installations, including INEC headquarters, local government INEC offices, sensitive materials like generators for every polling unit. So we know that every key element or item to be secured is secured.
Community leaders, religious bodies, civil society organizations, the police, and other security operatives have been sensitized on the need to rise to the challenge to achieve success of the election in a peaceful atmosphere.
They've been meeting to ensure that they fine-tune to get all relevant stakeholders around in terms of logistics, in terms of everything that will be required to ensure that security is provided for people that want to vote and also for people, that want to execute their job, like the journalists also that want to perform. These are the things so that the process will not be truncated.
Adequate logistics, materials, and a combined team of 10,000 officers and men of the police, Civil Defense Corps, Immigration have been earmarked to provide adequate security during and after the elections. In Enugu, Amechi Pius, NTA News.
That's a contribution from Enugu is back to Abuja for continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Chinyere. Moving on, the case of malnutrition, severe and moderate, are becoming common occurrences among vulnerable groups, especially internally displaced persons. It is a worrisome situation threatening the future of children, which prompts the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons' decision to launch a nutrition support program. Mamso Damian Dati reports.
It is the new Kuchingoro IDP camp in Abuja. Children dancing and expectantly waiting to receive packs of goodies containing micronutrients and protein-based nutrient items. Lactating mothers, pregnant women, and children 0 to 5 years are the major beneficiaries.
We go say we thank God because today they bring everything for us.
We use them do kunu and something like that. You go use them to do tea, give my children, or me I go feed drink them.
The National Commission for Refugees is conscious of the statistics indicating that 16 million Nigerian children suffer from one form of malnutrition or the other, with at least 1 out of every 5 children malnourished. Consequently, stunting growth and causing other health challenges.
We have deployed a nutrition support team. Our goal is to stamp out malnutrition among all displaced populations.
Just flagged off, the program is expected to reach other camps across the nation with hopes to enhance mental and physical development. Momsa Damien Dati, NTA News.
Maiduguri is our next port of call with Naomi as our guide.
Gary, and welcome to Maiduguri. Few days to the 2019 general elections, Deputy Inspector General of Police Administration in charge of election supervision in the Northeast, Usman Tili, has assured stakeholders of adequate security cover throughout the election period. The DIG gave the assurance during a meeting with political parties and other stakeholders in Maiduguri. Maimuna Garba reports.
The meeting convened by the Deputy Inspector General of Police Administration in charge of election supervision in the Northeast, Usman Tili, was to ensure rancor-free and peaceful conduct of the elections. The DIG enjoined political stakeholders to ensure that their supporters conduct themselves in a peaceful and orderly manner, stressing that there will be restriction of movement on election day. He said there will be adequate security cover at all polling units, as the police, in collaboration with other security operatives, are ready to ensure peaceful conduct.
We do sincerely apologize for the poor audio quality from Maiduguri. Now time to talk sports. 2019 ICC World